Me?
Yep. Hey! What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Purpose for Forever. I am Anthony A.D. Walker with Samantha Wilson Walker.
I can say my own name.
Nope, I said it. Too late. Hey, make sure you share. Sharing is caring. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you're rocking on replay, thank you for being here as well.
Yes.
As always, listen, we have a challenge that we do every week, the Intentional Love Challenge. Be sure to join that. Join our no, not that one.
Okay.
I erased that one. So stop clickety clacking on that one. But it is a Love Intentional Challenge. But this one is permanent every single week, Monday. If you text P4F to 84576, text P for F to 84576, you'll never miss the challenge. All right. I think that's it. We're gonna go ahead and kick it off. We got a great topic. We call it an audible this evening, based on what you see and what we're gonna actually talk about. All right. So we'll. Why this? How did that happen? Who did that? Sorry. Just some technical shifting. There we go. All right. We'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, welcome back. Yes, it is another Monday, and here we are. So we were originally going to talk about one topic, but we started a before the show conversation, and we decided we're going to talk about something else.
Yes.
So since we are in charge of this, and we make our own decisions, we decided to have a different conversation. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this one, and we'll have the other one another time. So of course most people have social media in one form or another. You're on one platform or all platforms, and you see various things. You're in different groups. Some just to be looking. Sometimes you actually participate. It probably varies with the days of the week. So as I was, scrolling like we scroll, I came across a question. Somebody asking like, how do you keep a spark in your marriage? And of course, like there were various answers naturally because everybody feels differently. But it got me to thinking, and I started to think like, how do you really keep the spark, keep the intimacy, keep the chemistry? How do you keep that going in your marriage? Or just kind of, in some ways, it kind of spans like any relationship. How you keep that spark in your connection to another person. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Anyway, so my thought process was this. I feel like oftentimes in marriage, we get married to somebody and we depend on them to make us feel good. To make us feel good about ourselves, to make us feel good about the jobs we have, to make us feel good, about what we wear and what we look like, and whether or not we gained weight. We put all this responsibility on another person, and when that responsibility, gets too heavy for that person, resentment can creep in. Because I'm mad at you that you didn't say I look good when I had on this, and I'm mad at you that you didn't tell me that my butt looked fat, and and we start to resent or pick at the other person because they're not making us feel good about ourselves. And I feel like that is so backwards. and we've done it so wrong for so long
Right.
that we think we're right.
Right.
To me, and I could be wrong, and that's fine. But the reality of it is, I can't keep the spark. And first, we're gonna start talking sexually. So
Right.
let's just. I can't keep the spark in my marriage or in my bedroom when I don't feel good about myself. Like, if I don't feel good about me, it does not matter what he says or what he does, because there's always going to be a piece missing.
Right.
It's impossible for me to feel sexy or, whatever, if I don't feel good about myself.
Right.
And for women, and I only can speak as far as women because I'm only a woman.
Right.
A lot of times we get caught up in being wife and mommy, and if you have siblings, your sister, you're an auntie. You have all these dynamics, and now most women, we work, and then you're working, and we have all these roles, and we focus so much on these roles that we forget about ourselves.
Right.
We don't put the time in to just feel good about ourselves. You feel accomplished when you do something right. Oh, look at my kids, and yeah, I'm a great mom. Oh, I did this for my husband. I'm a great wife. And you forget about just being yourself.
Right.
Like, I tell people all the time, and I even get in trouble at church because I just want to be Samantha. I don't want another title. I don't want to be sister something else. I just want to be me. And I know, like, that sounds weird, but I have to remind myself that the best role that I'm going to play is myself. Like, things happen, relationships change, people pass on, you move on. You're always left with yourself.
Right.
So if you don't spend the time and put the energy into feeling good about yourself and congratulating yourself and being happy with who you are, embracing who you are.
Right.
Sometimes, we try to fit in too much. Oh, well, this over here, they're like this. Maybe I need to be like this. And you get lost. So how are you going to feel sexy when your husband come home if, all you could think about is what's happened during the day?
Right.
Oh, this happened at work. I didn't do a good job today as an employee. Oh, the kids have been acting crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't do a good job as mom.
Yeah.
You go down the list of all the things that you may or may not have done right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's impossible to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
But if you focus on being me, like, nobody can be Samantha like I can be Samantha.
Right.
Like, I focus on being myself. Yes, I play all these roles. Yes, I wear all these hats.
Right.
But I'm me better than I'm anything else.
Right.
So I remind myself of that often. Now, once I feel good about myself, once I've worked out who I am and I embrace who I am, it's easy then to bring that to my bedroom.
Yeah.
It's easy to want to be intimate or want to be physical because I feel good about me. And then when he come in and
Yeah.
he adds, oh, hey, baby, you look good today.
Right.
That's an addition. That's something extra.
Right.
That doesn't make me
Right.
feel good about me.
Right.
I already have to feel good about me.
Right.
So I would say you can't have a spark. You have to start here first. Start where you are.
Right.
Start with yourself. And it's easy once you feel good about yourself. It's easy to want to share that with somebody else. So you're like, ooh, I'm cute today.
Right.
You want to share that
Yeah.
with your husband.
Right.
I think that's the biggest way
Right.
to keep the spark is if you don't let your light and who you are be dimmed. And
Right.
there's, we know once you walk out of the house all day long, we're bombarded with
Right.
stuff. Things that try to dim our light, things that try to dull our edges. Sometimes things that just unintentionally are just crappy.
Right.
And we deal with all of that. And then when you get home, it's like, oh, baby, no, I got a headache. No, I've had a long day.
Right.
Because, at that point, you're not feeling good
Right.
about you.
Yeah.
But when I feel good about me and I bring that to the bedroom,
Right.
and then he focuses on feeling good about him,
Right.
and he brings that to the bedroom,
Right.
it's easy
Yeah.
to, get a fire going in there because we both come in there, with us feeling good about who we are. So
Right.
for me, I feel like that is the first way to increase the spark or keep the spark going in your relationship is to, focus on feeling good about yourself. No, I'm not saying be selfish or self centered. I'm talking about that internal stuff.
Right.
Like, we don't focus on the internal. Everything is external. Oh, I want to lose weight. And maybe you should. Who knows? Whatever. Oh, I want to gain weight. Oh, I need a bigger butt. All the things we focus on,
Right.
but our insides is all messed up. Like, our mind is all twisted
Right.
and wrapped up. Our self-esteem is like in the toilet.
Yeah.
We don't want to deal with the things we've been through or the journey we've taken to get us to this point. And so all that stuff contributes to how you feel about you.
Definitely.
So if I feel a mess, there's
Right.
no way that that relational part of my marriage is going to be prosperous or even fulfilling.
Right. I think it does definitely take two. But well, not a but you just have to be willing. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra energy, just because we go through our days and we just have to be open and kind of like excited to see your spouse. We have for us, we just had to come back into that space. You go through the rat race, you go through the rigmarole and the constant spinning of the wheel all the time, and you realize, that you're just going through the motions when it comes to certain things. So we have to get into a space where we are finding ways to love on each other, to lean on each other. Oh man, it's so good to see you,
Right.
because and those are the little sparks,
Right.
that can start, that can keep the fire going, that can keep
Absolutely.
the great things happening in your relationship. Some of the worst things is just constantly going through the motions. All right, babe, go bed, wake up, go work, come home, do kid stuff,
Right.
see each other, we eat dinner, pray. All right, that night,
Right.
and you miss out someone because honestly, someone's missing. Someone is missing out. Like if you're listening now, you're like, this is just what we do. Trust me, your spouse is missing out. They are wanting you to stop. They're wanting to get some attention. There's something missing out. That was on my side for a while. Like I was just going through. Okay, this is what we do. Like I got into this routine. It's just the routine. Weekend we spend a little extra time together. All right, back to the race. And then Sunday is not really because we go to church, we come home, we cook. We talk about the week, and then
Back
it's
at it.
back at it. There was never a break in our routine. If anything that I've learned within the last 4 to 5 years, it's about breaking your routine. It's about veering off the path sometimes. Stopping, changing your schedule up. Not saying not to honor your commitments to things or organization or whatever you've placed in, but your main focus with following the church mantra that your first ministry is your home.
Right.
And you have to be seeding into your family. You have to give them time, quality time, sitting with and talking and having discussions. And honestly, like these are things that spark because babe, have you had any dreams about something lately? Like, we may be here, but do you want to go to another level or do you want to go into a new space? Like, we've been doing this for a while. Even if you're in a business and things are well and you're successful, you get such into a routine. Like, I'm bored. Like, I'm nice at this. We're great at this now. Like, we've been doing this for 10 years. Like, and if you've been doing it for a long time, you want to change. Yeah, exactly. It was, so used to get used to this mouth. Create positive routine that makes you look at your spouse right in a new light. You got to change things up, and you have to get off the path of monotony. You got to find ways to make things exciting.
Right.
One of the ways, join our community. Text P for F. 84576. We do challenges. Yes.
Making quality time and emotional intimacy intentional and a part of the routine.
Yes, Dr.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I totally agree. That quality time means a lot.
Right.
And like I said, I can only speak as a woman because that's all I've ever been.
Right.
That's all I'm a woman. That
Right.
that is my role. That's what I am. Whatever.
Right.
You know, sometimes like when you're a wife and you know your husband come in and you know you've done whatever with the kids, you put food on the table, you whatever, you know, he come in, he eat, you know, whatever, it's time for bed, and you're exhausted.
Right.
And he's like, you like, if you don't, you know, and it can become like, really?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what you didn't help do nothing. You know, you can get in that space. So for my second tip, I'm going to say another way, and I forgot just that fast, to keep the spark or put a spark in your marriage is for everybody to play their role.
Okay.
What do I mean? So like everybody play their part. So, you know, whatever your roles in your house is, I can't speak to that. Well, I'll just talk about our house. Typically, you know, whoever gets home first, that's the person that's gonna probably do more. If you get home first, maybe you're not a cooker. Sometimes just, you know what, it's gonna be a pizza night.
Right.
I'm gonna give your mom a break. You know, maybe it's something as simple as taking the chicken out in the morning. Oh, babe, I noticed you didn't take nothing out for you left. What you want me to take out? You know, you come home, you see the laundry is sitting, fold it up.
Right.
You know, I feel like if everybody plays their part,
Right.
then it's easier for one person not to get overloaded.
Right.
Because if I come home from work and he's already made sure the kids ate, you know, taking care of stuff, and I can come in and maybe just kind of, you know, come down from the day and relax, and I don't have to come home and keep going 90 miles an hour. It's easier at the end of the night
Right.
when he, you know, start the rubbing, that I can be like, okay, I'm good. So I feel like if everybody plays their part, if everybody chips in, you know, make it both parties. Like at the end of the night, you know you're gonna want something, so I need you to put a little work in ahead of time.
Right.
Sean said, Sundays I am usually responsible for breakfast, but I buy a cook. Absolutely. And stuff like that makes a difference. Like you already know that. So by Friday, you like, if I want Sunday night to be a happy time, I'm just saying, I'm, you know, no disrespect intended, that you know on Sunday you got to make sure breakfast is taken care of.
Right.
But that's the thing. Let's just say you don't take care of breakfast on Sunday.
Right.
Now either she got to figure out what you're going to have for breakfast or don't get breakfast.
Right.
Now your Sunday is a mess. You think Sunday night she's going to be a willing participant? No. It doesn't matter that she's at lunch and that she's at dinner. You still didn't take care of your part.
Yeah.
So I would say another tip to keep things, you know, spicy in the bedroom, or however you want to do it, is to do your part.
Right.
Everybody should have a part. In a
Makes it
household,
easier.
everybody should have some kind of responsibility.
Right.
We're both responsible for these kids that we both created together.
Indeed.
You know, we're both responsible for this house that we have to live in. You know, if you don't pick up nothing, then that means I have to pick up everything.
Right.
Right. That whole word itself just makes you think it's a lot. When you say everything, you always think that's a lot.
Yeah.
So yes, when you feel supported in household chores and dealing with kids, those necessary tasks, absolutely. Then that makes you feel closer to your partner. Absolutely. Those necessary tasks.
Right.
Like the little stuff.
Right.
You know, sometimes just turn on the washing machine.
Right.
Did you walk by the washing machine and saw, baby, I ain't got no socks. Did you turn on the washing machine? You know, it's the little things. And now you say, well, I shouldn't have to work to get what I'm owed as a husband. And it's really not, it's not about that.
No.
It's about making sure I feel secure.
Right.
Like we're in this together. We're both working toward the same goal. Again, like I said, I'm only speaking from a wife's perspective. I'm not saying a man, is required to do or be anything. What I'm saying is what works for me, Samantha Walker, is, some of these things. And
Teamwork,
so
right.
maybe, maybe if you need teamwork, absolutely. So maybe, if you're looking for ideas of some things that might work,
Right.
here's one. So
Yeah.
teamwork, absolutely. Being a team in every area. Like, don't leave her to discipline the kids. Oh, the kids, that's your area. Like, participate. Be a team player. And I'm telling you, like, she's like, oh, you did the dishes? Like, I don't got to do the dishes tonight? Let me hurry up and get a shower. Because, I got an extra 30 minutes on my hand.
Right.
And I know it sounds silly, but that's the reality. We all, we have our days, we have our things, we all have responsibilities. But if you participate in the process, it makes everything run smoother.
Right. Definitely. One of the things that, yeah, definitely handling responsibilities, even going both ways. If I come home and, I have to do a lot of stuff, it can take away from the mood. It can take away from, what I had in mind. I was planning on doing when I came home to make, do something spicy. And it affects the household.
Absolutely.
It's also like sometimes even unresolved issues can keep from a spark growing. Let's see, Rollins says, Sean says, spring cleaning, putting furniture together, make necessary phone calls to get things done right. Don't wait to do it sometimes. Don't want to do it sometimes. Yeah, but happy in the process. Feel good when it's done and off the table, right?
Right, it's off the list. It's
Right.
one less thing that she has to
deal
do.
with, right.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
So unresolved
so
issues. That's a big one.
So, like just even hard discussions that you've had in the morning and coming home, and you can't really ignore it. You gotta kind of deal with it, and I think it can even set a pleasant mood for the rest of the evening.
Right.
At least we can, even if we agree to disagree, we reach some level of resolve in a situation or issue. Because, and I'm not talking about big ones. Even just small stuff, that like there may be a pattern of something I'm not taking care of. Like, hey, this is just throwing our day off. I just need you. And I'm like, my bad. I realize, boom, boom, boom. This is my focus. I go that way out the door. And the trash is over here. So just having those conversations can set the house at ease. Just make things easy to happen. And going into the night, I'm relieved, she's relieved, and we're happy. You understand what I'm saying? So I think there's a creating of a spark. There's also a muffling of a spark. Because, we may have been doing good, but this one thing keeps looming and putting out the fire.
Right, all the way out.
Keep putting out the fire. Go ahead. Dr. Rollins says,
Please know this was all learned the hard way with us. This is good advice and a needed departure from always thinking a spark in marriage is just wear lingerie. Absolutely, because the lingerie will never come out if you don't handle your business prior to.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. That unresolved issue, I think, is a big thing.
Teamwork wins. What's
Hey, Carmela. Thanks for joining us. She said teamwork wins.
Yes,
Absolutely. She said this is about keeping a fire burning, not just sparks here and there. Absolutely. That's the important part because, and listen, we having a conversation. So, and you know what? I just asked about you the other day. We went to your store and I asked him if you were in there. Wow, it's good to see you. But like you said, that spark, like, okay, so I'm probably gonna give y'all too much information, but in times past, he was good for a spark, and then the next day it was like, you put out the fireplace and it's just ash and smoke, like that's what would be left. Like, he done sparked and flamed out, and we were done. And, just like you said, a spark here and a spark there. And that does not last. Right. That does not last. But, just a change in behavior and
Right.
mindset,
Right.
like you said, keeps that fire burning.
Yes.
I got another tip. Okay, so this one isn't as serious. This one's a little more
Just sharing. Sharing, guys.
lighthearted. Is sometimes be corny. Like he does this thing which is very annoying, but he does it, and so now I got to where I do it to him. Like if I'm doing something, and I turn around or I'm picking something up, he makes a little noise. And we do it so much, the kids are like, oh, y'all are just whatever. But it's the little corny stuff.
Yeah.
Just reminding your partner, hey, I still think
Right.
you hot stuff to me. Yeah,
Right.
babe, we old and stuff ain't where it started.
Right.
We all have those issues over time.
Right.
Gravity takes all. But
So silly.
But the little corny stuff, like he's like, oh, he texts me sometimes. He's like, oh, hey, my sexy wife, and I'm goofy, so I'm at work like, oh, stuff that makes you feel special. Don't forget, the little corny stuff. It's not just, oh, I ain't heard from you all day. I done worked all day. You worked all day. I haven't heard from you all day since we left the house this morning, and now as soon as we get into bed, here you go tonight. If you don't get your hand, no. Like, she said laughing a lot of stuff and where it started. Yeah, like sometimes you have to, like you said, keep that fire burning. Throw a little stick in there.
Right.
Hey, baby, you look real good this morning.
Yes.
Stuff like that. The little silly stuff
Right.
that we do. When it's better than always to make me laugh than it is to make me cry.
Right.
So, it's easier. Be corny.
Yeah.
Tell a joke. Everything doesn't have to be serious.
Right.
Keep it fun. That all day throwing a little sticker, oh, tonight it's going to be me and you. It's going to be Mr. What. It's a million different things you can say. Sometimes that text during the day can make somebody's day. Babe, I've been thinking about you all day long. When you get married, just think about it. You got married, you don't get them texts no more. You get the text, did you take the dog to the vet? Did you get the kid from school?
When did you pick up from the stove?
I need my clothes from the cleaners. Like, a lot of times once you're married, those are the texts that we send during the day.
Right.
Did you do, could you do, have you done?
Right.
We don't, hey baby, or when you dating somebody, it's good morning, beautiful.
Let me let me throw this out there. And we know we ain't gonna live forever, so don't get crazy. But when you guys are gone and your kids grab your phones, because that one thing I keep thinking,
right, get your son, right, those kind of texts.
I think my mother passed, my sister-in-law got the phone so quick. I always wanted to kind of just see what kind of conversations did she have.
Okay.
Just and so my dad been gone a long time, so they wouldn't have those.
And we don't want to know who she might have been having those with.
You know what? Don't do that.
Just saying.
So I would want to know, my kids would want to know, what they talk about. What would your kids look at you like if they grabbed your phone?
I'm on the way to right.
They text right.
Those are the daily
right,
texts.
Like
I said, you don't get the more, the good morning beautifuls.
Right.
You don't get that, oh, baby, this morning you was looking so fine. I almost wanted you to take the day off.
Right.
Or get that in the afternoon, hey, chocolate thunder.
He's so silly.
I can't help it. Like those texts, the little silly stuff. We don't do that once we get married. It's always business.
Yeah, like I said, if they grab, will they see more? Do you need something, pick it on the way, and then scroll a few months down, getting on my nerves. I can't stand this. Would you stop doing this, and this? And then you say something back. I can't stand you either. Then a couple of texts later, I love you, babe. I love you too. But will they see more? Just day-to-day workings, or will they actually see the love in the text? So I just think about it like that. Even if you just take your phone now, like later, not while work is on, but later, kind of scroll and just kind of see what kind of conversations are we really having. What kind of what does our interaction look like?
Right.
If someone had to write a story based on our text, what would the movie look like?
Wow.
How dramatic? Would it be more like did they really get along, or would it look like, oh man, they were cheesy, but they looked like they loved each other. You know, think about that. Just the thought, and I thought about that a while back. Let's see. So we talk about unresolved issues. Let me ask you, and this as well. What do you want your relationship to look like? You know, as far as like the level of love. Like if you could just erase. No, I know, but but in your mind, keeping a spark, right?
Right.
It's about seeing the possibilities or enjoying what you have, right? It's
right, Sean. Taking an extended lunch break to come see you.
Right.
Yes. That's stuff that you only get when they're dating. Listen, when you dating him,
I go across town.
On lunch,
I go an hour away.
Right. He gonna use his whole lunch break to come see you. Once you get married,
I come back late just to get 5 minutes.
Yeah. Once you get married, baby, I'm on lunch. Can you call me back? He needs his lunch break to himself.
But yeah, so you know, like, what do you know when you want your spark? What does the spark mean to you? You know,
right.
What does your spark look like? Just
is it just about the physical part of it?
Is it just about the physical? You know,
right.
And I think we get stuck there sometimes. You know,
I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a huge part of sparking.
But you know,
but,
it's more.
Right.
There's more to it.
There's more.
You know, are you having those enjoyable hangout spark moments? You know, do you go places? Do you at least enjoy being around each other? Because that's a question too. Do you enjoy being around your spouse? Is it I can only be around her a little while, you know, until she starts doing whatever, you know, I don't know, but it just, you know, just those kind of questions of, you know, if you're questioning, is there a spark in my marriage? What does the spark look like? And what can I do to from my side to bring it back? And just, you know, have that conversation. Do you enjoy each other? Because there can't be a spark unless you enjoy each other.
Right.
You know, or it's going to be difficult. I'll say that. I don't want to use the word can't, but it'll be difficult for there to be something if you can't at least be around each other, enjoy each other.
Absolutely.
Sam said something a while ago, you know, about us being friends, starting off as friends, having that foundation help us even get back together.
Right.
Because we had such a friendship, you know, we were, you know, and we got to the point, we've been around each other so long, we go somewhere, we would laugh because what I see is the same thing she sees. And we're like thinking the same thing.
Right.
But it's those small moments though that kind of drew us together, you know. So I think it's knowing kind of what your spark looks like, you know, because sometimes you want more, but you don't know what does that look like. I want so much more out of my relationship because you're frustrated. You might be in a frustrated space. Right. If you're watching this right now, you're just like, oh, I just want so much more. What does that look like? Because sometimes you get in a frustrated state, you set a bar so high that you just like, it's unrealistic. Like where you at, you weren't going there. I just want to be happy. Okay, what does that mean? You know, what would you want if you can control both situations? You know, what would you want your state to be? What would you want their state to be for everything to work? You know, it's kind of like you can't make anybody, but at least you can set a standard that you can see. And that'll help with the sparking of your marriage. If you feel like it's dulling out, anyone watching this later or even watching this now and you feel like, we just, you know, because we've been there. It's just, we going through struggles. We got the unresolved issues. That's a big deal breaker right there. It kind of kills a lot of the fire that could be in our relationship with those unresolved issues. Because I want to get into this, but like you said, like even her, like she was saying, I spark, but then get smothered. I spark, then get smothered. Because we got these unresolved issues.
Right.
That we can't just keep ignoring. You know, of course, we get excited enough, we can act like it's not there for a minute. So he said, sparks can be full of peace, right? Ready to rest in your spouse's arms, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Another tip, and this tip has like a couple of moving parts because I feel like you can't have one part without the other.
Right.
Is vulnerability. Being vulnerable with your spouse. Sometimes, you know, just being able to open up increases intimacy.
Right.
I feel the closer I feel to you, the more of myself I want to share, whether that's physically, emotionally, it creates more of a bond. Now the kick to that though is when your man, again because I'm the woman, so when your man is being vulnerable with you, you have to have his back.
Right.
You have to be that soft place for him to land.
Right.
When he's opening up and bearing his soul,
Right.
you have to be compassionate and welcoming to it. If I've seen stuff where somebody may cry, they might be emotional. You like, you crying? You a punk.
Good.
That is, the spark is gone.
Right.
I've seen things, where women call men all sorts of stuff. Like, you can't degrade your spouse.
Right.
And then there's going to be a spark. You
Right.
can't be disrespectful.
Right.
And then there's a spark. And yes, we all get angry. We all have those moments when we get angry. But I should never be looked at as your enemy.
Right.
You should never get so angry with me
Right.
that like you want to hurt me, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally. Like, it should never get to that point. So for me, like I said, being vulnerable, and then on the flip side of it, when someone is being vulnerable, you have to be welcoming to that.
Right.
You have to be the safe space. Like, even if you don't know what to say, listen. Sometimes you could just give them a hug. Sometimes you don't always, understand something from somebody's point of view.
Right.
Even as your spouse. Sometimes it's like, that don't bother me. I don't know why that bother you. That can't be the attitude.
Right.
Because a couple of things will happen. Once, he'll shut up. Like, he'll shut it all up, and he won't share that part of himself with you.
Right.
And so if there's limited sharing, that definitely will transpire to the bedroom. And I know you're like, well, I don't care. I have needs, and when I have it, I need it, and all that other stuff. And that may be true. But if you're really an adult, right, and you're grown, there's been times where you ain't been in a good place, and you've done it, and it's like, that was a waste of however long.
Right.
And then there's times when you and him on the same page,
Right.
y'all vibing, y'all connected. There's intimacy, there's compassion, and genuine desire, and you're like, wow, last night was.
Right.
So there's a difference. Yes,
Definitely.
the physical act, we have hormones, we have needs. There may be times that it's gonna happen anyway, but that's not really a spark. That's not keeping a fire burning in your marriage.
Right.
Disrespect will never translate well into the bedroom.
Right.
It just won't. Somebody, if I feel disrespected by you, I'm going to feel disrespected by you.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which room of the house we're in. Eventually, that will translate into your bedroom.
Right.
So being vulnerable, being that safe space, and of course, never allowing disrespect to creep in the middle of your relationship.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It all adds up together. Pretty much adds up together. Disrespect is kind of like throwing water on you, and now you got a lighter trying to light something, and
It's wet, right?
it's wet, and there's no way to really get anything out of it, until you dry off, until you simmer, until apologies happen or whatever happens, It definitely takes. Hey, Alicia.
Hey, Alicia.
She said that's
What's
good
up?
So it's definitely a key, to a at least a spark-filled relationship, spark-filled marriage. It starts from the beginning when you wake up in the morning, fulfilling that spark, starting little things, just like I said, compliments and hugs and kisses, and even just leaving the house, prayers and just thoughtfulness,
Right.
sets a mood, and I always talk about like kind of like our phase of our relationship now. There's just a level of peace that we have, and enjoyment that we have that we've never had Well, we might have back, beginnings,
Right.
but
We.
and it's been so sporadic
Right.
that this is probably like our most consistent track that we just been on. Where even when things happen, we're more of a mindset of resolve, not really who's right or who's wrong kind of thing. And talked about that in our previous broadcast, but it definitely all of it matters how you talk to your spouse, and like you said, her esteem and how she feels matters, but also what I say to her matters as well.
Right.
Because if I'm crushing her, how am I expect to for get any love out of her?
Ain't
if,
anything like it.
if I'm hurting her or disrespecting and not making an atmosphere of good stuff to happen, then it's hard for a spark to be there.
Absolutely.
And we talk about going all the way, but there's just so many other things that make a marriage wonderful.
Absolutely.
Just even like cuddle time and just enjoying each other, and I don't know, it's just so much to it that honestly, like, I'm discovering more and more, when it comes to our relationship, just being in just this better place.
It's just so sweet.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so yeah, another tip too is children. Okay, listen, when you have kids, let's just be honest, everything changes. Your whole house changes. Your relationship changes. Your level of attention that you may give each other changes, especially when kids first get here, because they need it all.
Right.
But as kids grow,
Right.
like, you have to set boundaries. Yes, even with your kids.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm the firm belief that your children should never be in the bed with you and your husband. I don't care how y'all feel. I got the mic. That's all I'm saying. Listen, I thoroughly believe that. Like, we've had 2 children, and both our children were premature, so they were very small.
Right.
Even when they came
Very
home from the
fragile
hospital,
and,
they were still very small. So there was a lot of good reasons not to put them in the bed.
Right.
But the biggest one for me, yes, and I'm the mother, was because I just felt it wasn't the place for them. But I feel like with your kids, you have to set some kind of boundaries. I know as moms, sometimes we get overly wrapped up with our little gumdrops, and we can't put them down, or we can't let them hurt themselves, or, let them, shake it off. Sometimes we become a lot, and we forget that, like he was saying, your first ministry is your marriage. Like, your responsibility, yes, as a mother, definitely is important, but you also have a responsibility as a wife. So you have to set boundaries with your children. Like, there should always be times that they go to bed. So you gotta go to bed. There should, even during the, she said, I didn't.
She said, I didn't want to deal
with trying to force them into their own beds.
Okay.
So exactly, because once you let them in, getting them out is a whole nother chore.
Right.
So yeah, having boundaries with your kids. Like I said, there should always be a reasonable bedtime.
Right.
Probably an agreed upon bedtime. Not with you and the kid though.
Right.
With you and your husband.
Right.
I feel like with kids, especially, the older they get, they should understand some boundaries. When mommy and daddy doors closed, you need to knock.
Right.
Just good, healthy boundaries to have with your children. Never let your children play you guys against each other.
Right.
Because, again, all this stuff does not translate well into keeping a fire burning.
That was a bad day for me. When I was young, that was a bad day.
Right.
I tried it.
I think it's also important. I know sometimes, I'll say for me, being a mother that have a son, like, I'm like, get your son. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, don't do that to my baby, in my head.
Right.
And I will say in my head because, I've realized I have to let him be his father.
Right.
Like, he loves him as much as I love him.
Right.
So,
He said,
these folks are taller than us and
still around
still
8 to 9.
around 8 to 9. It's time to watch. Right. Like that's the thing. There has to be
Right.
boundaries.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you start with healthy boundaries with your children, you don't have to worry about some things. Want them to go to bed early, have to have playtime with them so they can sleep good. Right.
Yes.
Those are habits.
Yes.
You know, that you learn when your kids are small.
Right.
But it builds, like I said, it builds boundaries so they
Right.
understand. Like our kids know sometimes we go in the room and close the door. Okay,
Right.
it's mommy daddy time.
Right.
They understand. They don't do the knocking and knocking and knocking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can I have this? Can I have that? Like,
Yeah. They know.
you know, it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
But it's important to set boundaries. I know sometimes, you know, everybody have different situations.
Right.
You know, you may be a mixed family, a blended family.
Right.
Listen, if you marry them,
Yeah.
you gotta trust them to father these kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed.
You marry them.
Right.
You know, those things can get sticky.
Yes.
I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I'm just saying you still have to have healthy boundaries
Right.
with your children.
Right.
Allow yourself
Yeah.
time to be a wife.
Right.
You know, allow yourself. She said,
True.
"True."
Yeah.
Yeah, allow yourself time to be a wife.
Right.
Allow yourself time, you know, to be with your husband. The same
Right.
way you have to allow yourself time, you know, for the kids.
Right.
There's time when the kids come home. You got to do the mother thing, you know,
Yeah.
the homework, the whatever. Oh, tonight we're gonna have a family movie night.
Right.
And
Right.
then sometimes, okay, y'all go to y'all rooms because mommy and daddy gonna have a movie night.
Right.
I think establishing boundaries with your children is important, as
Yeah.
well as allowing your children to see y'all interact.
Right.
It should always be respectful.
Yeah.
Your children should never see you
Right.
disrespect each other.
Right.
Like all that stuff is just like that's a boundary as well. Because if my son sees my husband
Right.
disrespect me
Right.
or curse me out
Right.
or call me names, by the time he's bigger,
Right.
like that same disrespect will be repeated. So
Definitely.
it's important to have boundaries, healthy boundaries,
Healthy boundaries.
for your children. Again, these are our children. We love them.
Right.
But we have to, you know, we have to love them properly.
Definitely.
We want them to be able to grow up to, you know, to manage a whole lifestyle and household of their own. And
Right.
we are their first teachers. I mean, it's what, 5-6 years for your kid even go to school.
Right.
And although you may not know it, they have learned a whole lot before they even go in that building.
Yeah.
We
Definitely.
are their first teachers.
Yeah.
So let's make sure them healthy boundaries, listen, all that contributes to, again, you know, a healthy fire continuously burning.
Definitely.
Because you don't have a kid, you know, it's bedtime or it's way late, it's 10 o'clock. The kid's like, what we gonna watch next, Daddy?
Right. Right.
You know,
Yes, sir.
you have to, what did you say, train them.
Yes,
Yes, because children and all this stuff can be a lot.
Right.
You can literally deal with them all the time
Right.
if you don't make time for your partner.
Right.
Absolutely. And listen, one of my kids, if I let her, I don't think, I did say which one it was. Well, my daughter, I love her. She's the best. She's the sweetest thing. But Jesus, if I let her, she would constantly be in between me and her father.
Right.
Even today, like, I kissed him. Why she come get in the middle and say, okay, I need a kiss. Now she needed both of us to kiss her.
Right. Right.
And
right.
yeah, okay, it's cute and we love you, but
Yeah.
you know, she also has to understand, like, there's some times when, no ma'am, not right now.
Right. Right.
So I
It's-
think healthy boundaries with your children is very important.
Yeah, definitely. You know, because we always say there's gonna be a time your kids gonna grow up, they're gonna be adults, they're gonna be gone, and it's
Right.
like what is left of your relationship if it's always just been the children, you know, if
Well,
it's
that too.
if it's been more focused on them than it is you guys, you know, you have to have time with yourself so you can enjoy, you know, as they get bigger and they get older and they begin to do their thing and they're not in the house as much. You know, you still have to have your marriage that you had before they came, you know. So it's definitely, like I said, the boundaries. It's always very important, very important. I mean, that's probably the one rule we really did stick to about the kids in the bed. We already knew
Woo!
after either seeing folks go through, it's
Other
like
people's
never,
kids, yes.
And there was never a fight. You know, it was just it's just one of the things, and all parents usually figure out like I just can't be lazy. It's just that's good. You know, most things that kids end up getting away with just like, all right, you win. I ain't got the energy to do what needs to be done. So yeah, I had to learn. You know, we at least never fell into that space because we knew the struggle of getting the kid out of the bed. So we did that early. You know, but yeah, definitely have those boundaries, dealing with those issues, setting the mood all day. You know, it helps keeps your sparks in your marriage. You know, it takes a level of work and just being intentional. Like I hate to say work because sometimes work is something you don't want to do, but it's worth it. You know, and it's not challenging if you want to be married. You know, it's just kind of shifting your direction towards your wife or your spouse, as opposed to just wanting to do something for yourself. You know, trying to be more open because let's keep it real. Like if I'm putting into her, she's gonna put into me, so I'm gonna get something out of it as well. So that's how you kind of have to look at it. All right. So we appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us. Yes. Another edition of Purpose for Forever.
Forever.
Again, make sure you join our community. Text P4F to 84576. P4F to 84576. Oh yeah, it's been running the whole time. It's fine.
Oh well.
So we look forward to seeing you guys next Monday.
At 8
yes.
p.m.
And if
is that it?
Yeah, it looks like 8. It's so silly. All right. Let me see. I was trying to see. Is there email here? No, it's not. Okay. But I was gonna say email us or connect with us if there's something you want us to talk about that we've never talked about or spoke about. Shoot us a text, or if you connect with us on Facebook inboxes, let us know.
Isn't it purposefulforever@gmail.com?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Very easy. Purposefulforever@gmail.com.
Yes, indeed.
Shoot us an email. If you know us, shoot us a text. You know, listen, I'll talk about just about anything. I might have to do a little bit of research first.
Right.
Because, you know, I try not to just be like saying just random stuff.
Indeed.
But we'll engage. We'll attack the conversation.
Yep.
Because, like, forever's a long time.
Yeah.
Whatever your forever is. So even if I only live to 60, right? God forbid. I don't think 60. I don't think I'm ready yet, Jesus. But even if I only live to 60 and I got married in my 20s, we're still talking about almost 40 years of being with somebody. 40 years is a long time to just be with somebody. Like, that's a long time. I don't want to just be with somebody. I want to be able to enjoy my marriage. And there's so many ways to make that happen. And for everybody, it may look different. Yeah. I will give you that. What works over here at the Walker house may not work over there at the Rollins house. Right. But guess what? Us telling you what works here might at the very least start an engaging conversation into what might work at your house. Yeah. It doesn't have to be what we do. Right. You could just be like, oh, can you believe they do that? Man, we would never do that. Right, you know what? It starts conversation. Yeah. It gives you somewhere to start. So we're not saying the way we do stuff is the absolute. I'm just telling you what we figured out, and it was a hard road to figure it out. Right. We really was like on the short yellow bus for a while because we kept doing the same things over and over again. Investing everywhere but where it counted. Right. So now we've learned we invest in us first. And guess what? When I invest in my husband and he invests in me, it's easy to raise our 2 kids. It's easy to leave the house and go work and have a job or start a business. Things are easier when you invest in each other. Definitely. But a lot of times we invest in everything else and then come home empty. We don't have nothing to give. Yeah. So that is the absolute backwards way to do it. So invest in each other. Right. Put the time in, even if the time is just figuring out what will work. Try this. It don't work. Try something else. Don't give up. Don't give up. You can have a happy forever. You know, marriage is not a life sentence. You know, you're not walking the green mile, you know, walking the
Right.
plank. It
Right.
doesn't have to be
Yeah.
that.
Yes, indeed.
So we thank you guys for
Thank you.
joining us.
Yes, indeed.
You know, y'all are walking out this journey, or we're walking out this journey right before you,
Right.
with you guys. The support means a lot. The engagement means a lot. So yes, we'll be back next Monday
Next
at
week.
8 p.m. So until then,
Love intentionally
love unconditionally
and love
on purpose.